Alright, well, I did a test fit, and it was a real pain in the ass to get it apart. So I'll basically explain what I did. If you flip these over, you can, I don't know if you can see it in the video, there's a weld seam on the inside all the way down one side. You can see the weld seam up here, but it leaves a ridge on the bottom. So what I did, just took your handy dandy angle grinder and cut a groove in this one and the other one too. And then I put lineup marks on everything. Now this thing will spin around the pipe a little, so it makes it a little funny, but it's not too bad. So that one will slide in real easy, and this one actually slid in, the rest of it slid in pretty good. I made a chalk line, let's see, I made a chalk line from the end here across that, marked it with a Sharpie, went all the way up, and made a Sharpie clear down there, a Sharpie mark. So I know where the center of the pole is relative to this seam. So that makes it, this groove makes this so you can fit it in tighter. Now you don't want it tight, not even by a mile, you'll never get it apart. Let's see if I can show you what I did here. See those nasty grooves? Yep. Yep. Hammering it out again. Now that groove, those claw marks in there will rust. So you don't want to do that if you can help it. All right. So anyway, I had it 100% assembled. I tried using a piece of wood to pound it out. The problem is a piece of wood fit inside of here tightly, which doesn't help. So anyway, I eventually got it apart. So the next step on this section would be, this is the 2-inch, this is the 1.5 inch, is get it all together and then drill a hole, say this way, and then down further drill a hole across. But you do it like, these are 12 inches center to center. So down on this pipe, you do the same thing. You drill maybe a bolt hole here and another one 12 inches down. So what you want to try to avoid, if you ever have to take it apart again, is when you drill a hole, the metal will leave burrs on the inside. So if you're drilling against something solid like this, you have a better chance of leaving very minimal burrs, and then it'll hold the collar in place. It can't slip either way, while it's up in the air for however many years. So this is, I don't even know where the hell the roll is now. That's, it's exterior painter's tape, which ironically I'm not a big fan of. The regular paper tape works even better. But it says right on it's exterior, and it's cheap. I have way too many rolls left over, so because these turn and slide around, you got to put tape above and below them so you can push them in and pull them out. So this has tape below it and above it. And anyway, so yeah, see, it'll go in fairly easy. I don't want to have to go through this again. So the other thing I did was I stood this whole assembly up against the shipping container and I wiggled it, and you could just barely tell there was any slop in this section using 12 inches, inside of the other. So I'm pretty happy about that. What I'm going to do, at least in the short term, to try and keep the rain out of here so it won't rust and clog it up, is just wrap some tape around it. You can always do something better and more perfect and all that crap, but I just don't have the energy for it. So that's how I'm going to do this. Just wrap it with tape, maybe the same blue stuff. I don't know. Some guys, you want to deburr this edge. The problem is it makes rust if you do that. So you want to do as little of that as possible. Anyway, so it worked great. Using an angle grinder to cut the groove in it just took seconds. That was really nice. It's not very deep. I'll bet you it's only 1/3 of the way through, maybe not even 1/16 of an inch in, because this seam, this welded seam in here, it's only about a 32nd of an inch tall and probably not even that wide, but it's enough to interfere with bushings. So anyway, the last stage on this section will be to drill it, and then it'll be assembled forever, but I still have to do the other end with smaller diameter pipe. So I'll show you a quick overview of that. Well, I'm not going to move all this setup because I'm too damn lazy, but what happens is this is just plain old galvanized horseshit metal. It's just nothing to it, right? And I cut this piece off a good piece, thinking I'll never use this, but as it turns out, yeah, I'll show you. Because it's just too hard to explain in words, and I'm wordy enough as it is. All right. Okay, so there's the joint. Sorry I can't show you the right end of it, but if I was to take this metal and shape a piece of wood rounded, and then rounded this old galvanized material, if I rounded it slightly, you could slide, from the initial testing I did, you could slide probably 4 pieces in. 1, 2, 3, and 4. And you fold it into the inside of this and then force it in, maybe a block of wood and a hammer, and shove it into where you want it, drill a hole, put a bolt in. And that would probably last a very long time. So this is 1.25 inches, this is 1.5 inches. So on pipe like this, it's the inside diameter that they're talking about, but the ID on all these is about between a 32nd and a 16th bigger than the spec, which is, that's alright. Bigger is stronger. So anyway, that's what I think I'll do up here. This is the piece that will attach the antenna with an adapter I'm going to make. Because the old mast that we all had back in the 70s for our base antennas, it's thinner walled, so it's smaller in diameter, so it fits right into the, like the Starduster for instance. And this isn't. This is thicker wall and blah blah blah, so I have to make an adapter. But anyway, I think that'll work better here because there's not enough slop to build an adapter ring out of aluminum in there. It's just, it'd be too thin, it would crack, it'd be a pain. When you can take something you're basically throwing away, shove it in there, especially if you've rounded it first, it'll fit in there. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take a block of wood, shape it to this diameter, and tap it along this so it'll fold it. So then it'll fit a lot tighter. Or well, not tighter, it'll fit more closely to the surface, so you can pound this piece in and it'll literally be solid. It will not be wobbling around, and then you just fold these down, the excess over the top here, and maybe a hose clamp or something. And then on the inside, you take this piece and you go like that, and you stuff it up inside this pipe so it stays put. You want to stuff it in real tight so you can still get your coax through. Anyway, so that's the idea on that one. Still too damn wordy, but that's just how it is. So, here we are. I really like this. It's come out good. You know, if you were real cheap, you could try to squeeze it with bolts, but I think this stuff is so hard that you crack it when you try to squeeze it with bolts really hard, all the way from this diameter to that diameter. That's why a bushing needs to be done. Now, if you got the time and the energy, you could use that same kind of galvanized material, wrap it around here, and then stuff it in. It's just going to be a mess. It's going to uncoil and all kinds of shit, but you got to do what you got to do. Not everybody has a lathe in the garage, you know what I mean? You use the tools you have. So let me think. The cost is what? Maybe I mentioned that already. This was like $16, 12 and 10, so $36, 37, 38 bucks, something like that for 30 feet. This is in a foot. The other one will be in a foot, so it'll be 28 feet. I did call the electrical distributor here in town, or here in Arizona, and I can get, let's see, this is 2 inch, I can get 2.5, and it's $30 for a 2.5-inch piece, or maybe it was I guess for 2.5 and 3. Yeah, 3 was like $48. 2.5, which would be just a little bigger, was $30. So then this would be the top mast, and the bottom two would be monstrous. So this thing would be stiff as a board. It gets a little harder when you buy bigger tubes that the hardware stores don't carry, because then you can't buy straps and stuff to fit them. You have to go back down the electrical distributor, pay their premium price, and strap it all together. So what I'm going to do is stick that 1.25-inch material inside of this guy, and then again lean it up, straight up and down, then wiggle it and see how stiff it seems. If it's pretty good and the joint here isn't too sloppy at the other end, then I won't go buy the big piece. Or if I get rich someday and I got, you know, $30, I'll add it to the bottom, and then I'll have a 40-foot mast. Yes, this whole thing is going to get guyed, absolutely, without any doubt in my mind. So maybe 10 or 15 feet below the antenna, it'll get guyed, and it should go up really good. So, all right, I'm done yakking. I'm tired. I need a drink. See you. Bye.